All right, just press recording. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna share a poem to start.
And if everybody would put their systems on mute while we do this, it would be appreciated. Okay, Rev G, go ahead.
All right.
If I turn it up as well, it's not yeah.
This poem is titled One Day at a Time, and it talks about, how we go about our stories one day at a time. And I've been thinking that's how I've been living my life, one day at a time. And I'm gonna just share it before we begin. Let me find myself in these stories, believing once more the times ahead. The fog of days is heavy in my sky, with sun and stars hidden, but the stories are alive. Let me find a light and a way through the ups of the stories, and the down will lead me to the way, the face of a shining vision of a new dawn. And in the morning hours, let there be light, and let there be time to tell the stories. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see. Okay, I see I cannot minimize. I don't know why. Okay, let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna start, let's see, slideshow. All right, so I've been giving some thought about that, about how do I share my story? How do I share my upbringing in the countryside of Haiti? And one of the things that has been rolling in the back of my mind is that everyone has a story, and they are all unique. They are all beautiful. So I've been thinking that when you meet someone, you meet so much more on the background that sometimes if you take time to ask questions, you discover a lot. I mean, when I think about myself, there have been so much more since my growing up till today. So I'm gonna start just by thinking about how many people will influence my life. Because whenever I set out to tell my story, I ended up telling other people's story. Because when I consider my life, it's just people who have been, just influence me, take my hand in the course of life and show me the way. So telling my story is not gonna be a story if it doesn't intertwine with other people's stories. So that's how it is. So we're gonna see a lot of people I'm gonna talk about here who have, influenced my life growing up. And as I said here, this story started in August 1988. That's the month I was born. And the village I was born is called Gankolin. So when you talk about Leogan, as I mentioned here, Leogan to give you a sense of where I was born. This is a map of Haiti. This is a map of Haiti. And this is Port-au-Prince, the capital city. And if you were to locate this, the place I was born, this is Gangouave. That's they call it arrondissement in French, but you would call it like a district or city. But I was not born in the city. I was born in the mountains. So this, if you see my cursor, that's Gangouave. I would probably put my parents' location here on the mountain, like right here, close to Jacmel. Jacmel is a very well-known city in Haiti. And you would, if you wanna travel to Haiti, you would probably go. I used to be on the north in Cap Haitian. Cap Haitian is a very well-known place too. And this is the Central Plateau of Haiti. So this is a current map. So I wanted to give you a perspective of where I come from. So it's probably right here, if you can see my cursor. So that's, I was just talking about Leogan. When you leave Port-au-Prince, that's probably one of the place you're gonna encounter to go up on the mountain. So when you get to that point, I'm gonna show you some of the mountains, but that's one of the place you're gonna pass through to get to where I come from, up in the mountain. So when this mountain is the place where I grew up. So my parents' house, you're gonna see my parents' house in a while. It's on the bottom. If that's the top of the mountain, and you're gonna see Leogan is way, you know, in the flat land over there. But that's the place I grew up. So you see, and the school, let's see, there was another picture, but there's a school. I will probably show you the school I studied in, and you can have a sense of the place I grew up. So what happened is that there are some greenery. There used to be a lot of trees, but because of the current situation in Haiti, and the government has become less and less. I mean, a lot of probably weakness. They couldn't control how people cut trees, but this place used to be very green, but it still has a lot of trees, but not not so much right now. So that's my mom and my dad. So my mom, her name is Villani Pierre, and my dad, his name is Frank Pierre. They are, I mean, they are wonderful people. If you were to meet them, they are spectacular. I sometimes think I mean everybody should think that they are the best parent ever, because they care for the kids. They care for education. For example, my mom has been I think she arrived at like 5th grade, and my dad probably the same amount of education, the same amount of schooling. Let me say schooling instead of education, because I've been thinking about how our parents in the countryside are so well educated. Let me say it like this, in the sense that they know how to live with one another. They know how to raise their kids. They might have less schooling, like they haven't probably got to college or high school. No, they didn't, but they know how to read. They can read. It's just that they have a formal education, formal schooling, I would say, formal schooling. So, but they know how to raise the kids with, love of God. And I can remember my dad, we couldn't stay at home one Sunday without not going to church. He would be fierce and teaches us how to love one another, how to love our neighbors, how to be respectful, and how to love our studies and to study hard. And those are the things that I will carry for the rest of my life about my mom and my dad, and so much more. So I sometimes feel I'm so blessed to have Villani and Frank as my parents. So that's my grandmother. My grandmother, she was the one who I spent a lot of time with as a kid because um, her husband died early and she was alone. And I remember one day I mean, I was a little kid, but I could, remember she came to my father's house saying she needed someone to live with her because she couldn't live alone. But in Haiti, you would, there's no nursing home in the countryside that would take care of people. So when someone get close to old age, what she or he would do is take a grandkid to live with her or with him that could help her with the normal task. I used to, just try to cook when she couldn't cook. She taught me how to cook, taught me how to wash my clothes, taught me how to be respectful too. That she was a lovely, lovely grandmother, but the strictest grandmother I've ever seen. She was so strict, so oh my goodness, she was fabulous. Can you hear me correctly? Because it seems like there's I hope I'm not freezing.
Yes, I can hear you, Reverend G.
All right, that's wonderful.
And how do you pronounce your grandmother's name?
Oh, her name is Hilarienne Fontus. Hilarienne Fontus.
And
Fontus was her last name. Hilarienne was her first name. She died in probably a little bit before I came to the US in 2017. She died probably in 2015, something like that. Yeah.
And was she your mother's mother?
Yeah, she was my father's mother.
Father's.
Oh, my mother's mother. I don't have her picture, but she died a little bit earlier. But they love me so much. I'm so proud of them. So that's my mom. As I said, I'm so proud of my mom. My mom, they usually say my mom and I will look alike. That's why people would really say. But we were at our brother's, my brother's wedding, my oldest brother wedding. It was in 2020, I think. So I don't know if some of you went to the film film viewing a few weeks. It was last week at George Mason University. They were showing the film that's called Madasara. Madasara is Madasara is how women in most places of the country organize themselves to buy products from markets in the countryside and bring them to the cities to sell. So my mom, that's what she did, but she's still doing it, but less right now because she doesn't have little kids. She's not raising little kids, so she's taking her time with my dad in the countryside, living their life, and I'm so proud of them. So that's my parents' house in Glencoe Lane. So that's the home we raised in. So we were, if you, the homes they are very, they have a lot of distance apart. So the next house, I would say a few yards apart. But you're not gonna find, because of most of the houses they have a lot of big fields. That's why we say a farm, because at some point you're gonna find a lot of chicken in the house. You're gonna find my father who has cows, not only cows but donkeys, horses, and the most livestock we're gonna find in the countryside are goats and sheep. You're gonna find a lot of them, people raise them, and to sell. What do they do with them? Or they use them to pay for education. I remember whenever school is gonna open, if my parents doesn't have any money, they take a goat, some goats or some sheep. They go in the market and sell them to afford our uniforms, our books, our shoes, anything we need, or to pay tuition for all of us. So that's my mom with my little sister. I put these pictures because I always value the life of women who are closely related to my life. So my mom and my sister, I owe them so much because they bring a new sense in my life because I love how, for example, a few days ago, my sister was in the countryside visiting my mom, and she made it possible for me to spend a lot of time talking with my mom, because my mom, there's an application called WhatsApp where in which I can, talk with my mother and with my sisters, my siblings. But my mom and my dad doesn't have this application, and my sister, you need to hear from Gimo, and it has been because my mom and my dad, I talk to them probably once a week, but my brothers and sisters every single day, because we have an application called WhatsApp. We are able to talk. But this is I'm not part of this. I'm not put my pictures because you see me every day. But this is my oldest brother. His name is Frankie. This is my second oldest brother. His name is Jean-Oni, and I'm right after him. And this is my little brother. His name is Bolier, and my sister. She is the last of our family, and we love her. And I sometimes, whenever, as I said from the beginning, my stories are so much related with these people I am sharing right now, because they are the one who see me growing up from little kids till today, and always encourages me, always talk to me all the time. Whenever I have something, I can call them at any time, sharing with them. So I'm so grateful for the contribution they have given me. So one of the things I'm gonna, talk right now. So how do we eat from the countryside? Because whenever you go to another culture, you always have, what do you eat? But what I'm gonna share right now is just here in the States, usually it's pasta as a dinner, but in Haiti, we mostly eat pasta as breakfast. That's one of the type of breakfasts we have. But the most common is bread and coffee. Most common. For example, coffee is so related in the Haitian culture. For example, in most of the homes in the countryside, the first thing that they do in the morning is have a cup of coffee ready. So they have the big things of coffee ready. So anyone who pass by, they can offer them, do you want some coffee? Do you want some coffee? That's what they're gonna offer you. Anyone, you're gonna pass by. If you probably were to stay to talk to my parents a little while, they're gonna say, do you want some coffee? Because to them, it's a way showing kindness in the morning. Sometimes the coffee stay until, they're not gonna offer you coffee until probably noon, but right early in the morning, they're gonna offer you some coffee. But this is another thing. If Betsy were here today, Betsy would say that how I love avocado. Avocado is something that we eat a lot in the countryside. And in a typical thing, we eat avocado and bread, and avocado with also something they call cassava. We made with I don't know how to say it, cassava. I don't know even the cassava, but we eat a lot. For example, if we come from school, and if we are, for example, hungry, that's something we could probably have an appetizer to wait until my mom cook her food. But also that's typical. We made the coffee. And sometimes this picture, I took it from the internet because it has this cassava we made, I think from yucca. I think, yucca. So we made it from yucca. We grew a lot of yucca. And for example, this milk is from usually you're gonna find a table like this in my home, that this milk is from my father's cows. Mostly everything we have in the countryside is something we do on ourselves. The coffee, my mom and my dad have this big yard where they grew coffee, and we have bananas, and we do all those things. So for dinner, that's what we usually did, but that's not a typical things. That probably more like corporate. But the corn and avocado. As I said, in the countryside, we eat avocado with everything, with almost everything. Avocado is something that we eat a lot. So that's a cornmeal, and this meal would call it du riz à sauce pois. They call it in French or in Creole, but it's rice and sauce beans of sauce and some kind of vegetable you put around it, and it's delicious. I'm so sorry that there's not a closest Asian restaurant you can try it, but there's one in Maryland. Whenever I need to eat Asian food, I go to Maryland in Silver Spring. That's where I find the closest Haitian restaurant. Do you have some question before I move on? I mean, I can take all the question after that, but I'm going to talk about how we, were educated. So this book, I just bought this book. This book is about my hometown, Gunkolin. This book. This is the priest who inspired me so much. His name is Jean-Wilfrid Albert. And as you can see, back in the days, that's the old church we used to worship. That's the whole church. And this woman is from Arkansas. It's because the two of them, I would say, changed the landscape, changed the landscape of the countryside I grew up in, Gunkolin, because I do think their collaboration made it possible for them to build like more than 30 schools in the countryside and churches. So I bought this book to read so I can know more about even my homeland, because from other people's perspective, because it is written by someone who's called Martha Abbey, who was a friend of this woman who's called Frances Lenders. But I remember when I was little kid, I used to see her coming. I mean, she passed away probably in 2008, something like that. And Father Wilfrid passed away in 2005. But these two people, if you go to my countryside, you're gonna hear the name all day long, because they're not gonna be forgotten, in the near future, because people love them so much. So that I wanted to mention that. But so they built the school, but the school were destroyed. The 28. It was 2010 earthquake. So the school right now, they help us rebuild. It's gonna look like this. For example, you'll see the kids lined up, and the priest in the countryside, the priest of my parish, he is, and we usually use solar panels. So this is solar panel on the top, on the roof of the school, that you use for electricity. But usually, I mentioned 2 points that I don't only learn from school, but also from my parents, that in Haitian culture, we usually have less eye contact whenever we interact with people. So that's part of the culture, because looking someone too much in the eye, used to perceive as disrespectful. Even I was reading a book recently, not in American culture, not looking someone in the eye seems to feel like you are not confident, or you are insecure. You have to look the person in the eye, but it's not part of my culture. My culture, the less eye contact, the better. But also, one thing that I wanted to mention, I remember when we were eating at school or at home, my mother used to tap my hand not to eat while talking. So it was a big shift for me when I get here. For example, when we went to when I was at VTS, or when I was at Hartford Seminary, people always try to engage me while eating, and that's cool. But it was at first, it was a struggle, because I'm not used to it, to talk while I'm eating. But I mean, after almost 5 years, I'm almost so used to it. But it's still a struggle to talk while I'm eating. We used to talk while drinking, but not eating. And I can remember my mother tapped the hand, if you are talking while eating. No, you eat, and after that you talk. don't do both at the same time. So that was something I learned, also some kind of cultural thing I learned, not only at school, but also at home. So this is the priest I was talking about. His name is Father Jean-Wilfrid Albert, and he was a spectacular man, a special man who had a calling from God to change the face of the place I was born, my village. So he will always remembered because of what he did, for his love for the people, and for how he lead the community toward loving each other, toward growing in faith, toward this man is a saint. Today we are celebrating All Saints Day. This man our saint, and there's this petition to canonize him in a way we do that in the Episcopal Church. So that was me. If you see me in 2029, so that was me. I was my face was probably a little bit younger, but it was a few days before the 2010 earthquake, because that was at my university. So that was when I left the countryside to go to Port-au-Prince. So this was a university, and as you can see, I mean, I don't have a picture for, I mean, the whole, that was a little part of the university. But in 2020, at the earthquake, I was on the 3rd floor, probably where you see the cursor here, and the school collapsed with me, But this is a wooden house that they do the administration. This one didn't, but the whole, I mean, most part of the school, you cannot see it, but this building collapsed, and as I said, that's the reason I always call myself a survivor, because I could have died there, and I would not have the chance to meet you in this life if that happened in 2010. But God had other plans, so here I am, still alive. But this was me in the property of the university, and this was the part of the university you can see here. So after studying accounting, but that's where I studied accounting as I mean, in 2010, 2011. But after that, I entered seminary. So that's the parish I did field at as a seminarian. So as you can see, I bring this picture is because they did homemade bread the same way we did at St. Peter's Newwood, but they didn't do it every day. They did it for Easter. For Easter, that's what we say. That was on Easter Sunday. We were celebrating Easter, and as you can see, this bread I was trying to. It's very big. It's one bread. They bake it. It's one big bread, and we kind of just take the big bread and we take pieces of it and to share it during communion. So I'm almost done. So we can have, I know you're gonna have some questions. So worshiping also during my time in Port-au-Prince. So that was the Holy Trinity Cathedral that was destroyed by the 2010 earthquake. Because I put that is because this cathedral in Haiti was, I mean, it was destroyed. So we have just the relic of it, just but it was the first place in Haiti. I mean, not the first, the only place where Haitian could go and find fresque, how they call it in French, but also the images that look like them. In most of the churches, for example, the Catholic Church, all the saints are white. I mean, I'm not the reason I mentioned that is because it's been, even the New York Times have written about it, I think, and the piano that was there was something very special, and it was the only one in the country. But these ones, for example, you can see there is they paint the wedding at Cana. I don't see that's the resurrection, no, the crucifixion, and I don't see the scene, but I didn't put all the scene. But this cathedral was so beautiful, but it was destroyed. So as my last slide, this is my last slide. I'm gonna show you what it means. This was worship. It was during communion. They were singing. The image is not good quality actually, but you can see how it is. It was an ordination, I think. But you're gonna this was the ordination of Auger Beauvoir as bishop, and you can see the presiding bishop. What's her name? Her name was Catherine Jeffers Curry. She went to ordain Bishop Beauvoir. But I mean, the singing, you can see the singing and the drums and the people, how most of the congregation worship in the Episcopal congregation worship in Haiti. So that's gonna be my last slide, so we can ask some. I'm gonna leave it up for Christians right here. And I mean, I give you a perspective of how I grew up, how did we worship, what school looked like, about food, how do we eat. I'm sure in the countryside, if you go to the countryside, you're not gonna find any hamburger, all right? No hamburger in the countryside, no French fries. But we have some good avocados, some bread and whatever. So if you go to the countryside, you can share with the people. So we might have 20 more minutes for questions, and I would be happy to answer them.
Rich.
Where does the coffee come from? Can I ask that?
Oh, the coffee. The coffee comes from my father's yard. I mean, actually, I'm sorry I didn't have much more picture to see. But one of the things, when you go, every home in the countryside, they're gonna have something they call, I don't know, they call it yard, but it's mostly something. It's a field. It's a farm. You're gonna have them. They're gonna grow coffee, and when they grow coffee, the whole process. My mom did it. They take the grain of coffee, they dry it in the sun, and after that they fry it. So, and after that they grind it to make the powder. So make every step of the process. And they grow coffee, they grow banana, they grow coconut, avocado, all the things. Usually when my mom go to the process market, it's usually to buy oil, to buy sugar, to buy some of the things that they might need, but most of the things they grow themselves.
Rich.
Yeah, thank you, Rev G, for sharing your story. It's very interesting. Short two-part question. One, what influenced you or made you decide to go to the seminary in the first place? And part two is then what made you decide to come to the United States?
Oh, all right, that's a wonderful question. As I said, my first encounter with a priest. I mean, I grew up Episcopalian, and as I mentioned, I couldn't talk, share my story without not talking about Reverend Father Wilfrid Albert. He was the one who kind of, create a path for all of us in the countryside, because when he got there was no one who, there was little people who could read, and he spent 20 years in the parish, no, it was 15 years, something like 15. And after that, there was all, human resources who can do something for the countryside. So my first place, my first calling was, first of all, to walk in his pathway to change people's life. For example, that's one of the things I always think when I'm thinking my course, my path here, that I can be a cosmic citizen, yes, but I always think I will be always more helpful in Haiti, because to give back to what I have received, not only from Father Wilfrid, but also from the people who raised me, because we have this proverb we say a lot. I think it's an African proverb, but we say that it says it takes a village to raise a child, and I am a living example of that. That, for example, you would be dumbfounded if you tell you that, but in the countryside, if a kid does something wrong in the street, anyone have the right to just whip the kids. And when the parents come, the parents gonna thank the person who did that correct the kids, So everyone can do that, if the kids does something wrong. But that might be very different in this culture. But yeah, that's one thing which that what makes me come here is because when I was in the seminary, and I used to, my English was more broken than it is today. But this woman came to teach at the seminary, and she told me, oh, there's a program at Hartford Seminary, would like to apply, and because you would be a really wonderful candidate. And I said, oh, why not? And I applied, and I got half of scholarship. And the church in Glastonbury, the church is called St. James in Glastonbury, Connecticut, and they accepted, oh yeah, we're gonna pay the other half, for him. And Reverend Dennis Cabana and Dr. Lucinda Mercer, she is still a professor at Hartford Seminary in Connecticut, and they collaborate to help me did this graduate certificate at Hartford Seminary. So, after that, the plan was to go back to Haiti right after the 1-year program. And what happened to my path was, I found this program in Europe to go. And since then, I've been moving around, and God is calling me all the places, and till now I haven't got back yet. And I'm still in God's almighty hand to show the path for me to do whatever God's want.
God bless you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you landed where you are right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Ellen, let me ask one question, G. The home you grew up in with Frank and your mom, is that part of the family, or does that like here? Is that house sold after a while? How does it go?
It's a family home. It's where all the kids grew up. It's my mom and my dad built their homes and they raised their kids in it. It's just that it's our homes. For example, when my dad died, I hope we're not gonna fight over it. As I said in this.
Okay, but it will stay in the family.
Yeah, it will stay in the family. Yeah, that's gonna be the family property.
Good.
Yeah.
Reverend G, what about the education of your siblings?
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention my first brother. He's an accountant. No, he's an administrator because he studied public administration. He's working in the north part of Haiti right now. As you can see, I show you how the map is like a C shape, and he's working in the north. And my second oldest brother is an accountant, like me. He is working in Leogan, closer to Port-au-Prince. And my youngest brother, he started to study, was becoming an economist, but right now it's still not done with the program. And my little sister spent 1.5 years in Russia, and hopefully I always got thanks because what happens that she left Russia probably right before the war,
Wow.
so, and she was in a place in Russia called Belgorod, and recently I've seen that some missiles have been landed in the place she was in Belgorod. Belgorod is close to the to the Ukrainian border, not too far. So I would have been so worried for her. She was still in Russia. But anyway, that's how we are as siblings. Yeah.
Are mostly men attending the seminary, or do you have some women now too? Or is that not tradition to have women?
Yeah, we ordained in Haiti, they ordained the first woman priest. She died, unfortunately. She was ordained not in her old age, but she was not ordained young. But they ordained first woman priest probably around 2002, something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, we have I think in diocese right now they have like 4 women priests, something 4 or 3. I could remember. Yeah, but yeah, we take women in the seminary. We have women in the seminary. And before it was just men, previously it was just men, but by my time we had women in the seminary. Yeah.
So Reverend G, in the United States, as you know, we hear a lot about the political unrest in Haiti and it being a very dangerous place. Is that a media perception, or what experience does your family have?
I hope as I planned with Ellen, this is gonna be like a 2-session adult forum. I hope next time I will talk more about, I will give you more of my perspective about the current situation of Haiti. But what I usually say, because as an Haitian, I might be biased. I am biased. Actually, we all biased. But what I usually, as I shared that a lot with Reverend Susan about how the situation in Haiti has been, I don't know, giving me a lot of trauma, a lot of, sometimes steal my sleep and my peace. But what I usually say is that it's a complex situation. I know you asked about my family. My mom and my dad would be the last person I would worry about this current situation in Haiti, because where they are in the countryside, I don't know. That's the most, one of the most peaceful place. Most of the countryside, because they don't worry about anything. If they go out, sometimes they don't even close their doors because nobody's gonna break in. That's how they live in the countryside. What I usually say is that most of the chaos that happened in Haiti happened in Port-au-Prince, the capital city, and people. It got all the attention. The media just portray what happened in Haiti. But sometimes I would say I think it that way. I think, what would happen if the media would probably go to Grand or to any other places in Haiti to see? Yeah, it would be different how they live from here. They don't have sometimes they don't have running water. They have to take the water to from a well, or from some places from a river. There's the source of the river, the top of the river. It's gonna be different, but you see, they're living and they are happy, and they don't care about security. They don't care about all those kind of things, and they live their lives. but the chaos is mostly in Port-au-Prince. And sometimes, yes, I worried for my brothers and sisters who are in Port-au-Prince because anything can happen to them. But for my mom and my dad, I would never worry for them. I would even see if they have, for example, my mom have some kind of health issues. Sometime last time she was hospitalized because she had blood pressure, which raised up. Sometimes I worried for her, and that's why because she loved us so much, our siblings, we said to ourselves, if we have something, we're not gonna tell it to my mom, unless it's something that very serious. But because she would, she could not, she doesn't process it so much well, she gonna get sick if we have something happen to us. That's why we did that. But yeah, I hope the next adult form I will lead on Haiti. I think I told Ellen we're gonna talk about voodoo, how voodoo intertwined with religion in Haiti. That's probably the next one I'm gonna do, probably in January, because we're gonna get to Advent, and we have already a program for Advent. Probably in January I might do that. But I will talk more about all the situation in Haiti. I mean, right now, today, I want it to be so much self-centered to talk about myself. But yeah, and my family. But yeah, as I said, to summarize, the chaos are in Port-au-Prince, but there is life, I would say, in the other parts of Haiti.
I have a question, G. Since I've not been to Port-au-Prince or your hometown on the hill on the mountain, what is the distance in miles between Port-au-Prince and where you grew up? Is it 20 miles or 60 miles or how far?
As I said, I used to say, Reverend Susan, I started to get some of the American, habits in me to check the weather, for example, because that's not something we do in Haiti. And that's not something, checking the distances, that's something I'm not going to be accurate.
Okay.
I'm not going to be accurate.
Next time.
Because what we usually did is take it by time. For example, because some of the roads are not, some of the roads are good, but not to go to my room is not good. I would say it might be like 50 miles, something like that. It's 50
Okay.
miles.
That's
Yeah,
good
something
guess.
like that. I don't think I'm accurate, but it might be range in this area.
Or
Yeah.
how long would it take if that's the way
Yes,
you
yes, that's
measure
how
it?
we usually
Yeah.
do it.
Mhm.
To
So
say
how
how long
long?
it takes to from Port-au-Prince to my hometown. 3 hours, or 2 hours and a half, sometimes.
In
Okay.
a car?
If there's traffic in Port-au-Prince, when you left Port-au-Prince, there's maybe some traffic that take a lot of time. But usually if there's the traffic, it's just 1 hour, I would say. But mostly it can take 2 hours and a half if there's traffic in Port-au-Prince. But after that, you get to go to the road to Leogane, you just go. And when you left Leogane, you get some road that are not good, so if you're on a car, it goes very slowly, all those kind of things. Yeah.
Are the roads in your hometown mainly dirt or are they paved?
The road, some of the road are dirt, but some of for example, if you all the way to Leogane, all the way to up there's a place that's called Saint-Etienne is paved. But when you left that to get to my hometown, it's dirt. Yeah.
You see that the general level of the population is poverty is pretty much pervasive throughout Haiti. I mean, it appears that your parents are, by American standards, people always measure their wealth by how many dollars they have. But it seems to me that your parents live a very happy life. They have food, they have friends, they got coffee on the table in the morning. I mean, but I don't imagine that's true for a lot of people in Haiti.
As I said, I grew up in the countryside, and the picture I picture is the picture of the countryside of Haiti. And when you see in the media, for example, in Port-au-Prince, for example, a lot of people sure struggle to put food on the table. But when you go in the countryside, what happened is that everybody they are farmers. So they might struggle to find money to go to buy some stuff they don't have in the market. But most people, they can afford to put food on the table. I mean, whatever way they do it. Because as I said, I mean, the thing is that usually the media portray Haiti just Port-au-Prince. It's just poverty. And that's something you're gonna hear from most people who come from the places like my place, from my hometown. Yeah, I'm not saying life is, rosy, pinky. No, there are some struggle, but the struggle are different from what people think.
Mhm.
The struggle are really different from what people think. The struggle are probably the struggle my dad and my mom usually face is finding a way to pay tuition. They might not have the money. The struggle we usually face are probably if we are sick to just because you will find like a clinic in the countryside, but if someone has a big problem, you have to go to Leogane or to Port-au-Prince. That's a struggle. But like people are starving, it's not something you're gonna find. No. And I would say that now it's kind of less and less, but in the countryside, usually when my mom cooked, for example, share the I mean, I mostly don't remember a day where there's no food that left on the table for in the morning. We don't throw them away. We don't have fridge, and we eat them in the morning. So and what happens is that when they cook food, they share it with most the close neighbors, and they bring food to us. So they always plenty of food. So they might, I mean, the way they measure profit in the American standard, yes, you might find people not living that way, but they have different kind of struggle, not what people think, like they cannot, find food. Right now, because of the war in Ukraine and what the government did, raising cut the subsidy of gas and raising the gas of price by 100%. Yeah, it's gonna be harder for people. But in the countryside, people still gonna find something because they grew most of the thing they use. That's the something sometimes the media doesn't portray. There's poverty, yes, but it's different from what they think.
Thank you.
Reverend G, you talked about, your family maybe selling a goat for education. What is the typical cost of the education for like a grade school student?
That's a good question. I mean, it was really, I mean, I would say cheap in my time.
Mhm.
I think right now, let me take my calculator. I think at some point, if someone has, I don't think it costs $200 for the whole year, 200 American dollars, because it's supposed sometimes it's gonna 5,000 goods, sometimes got 10,000 goods. It depends in the countryside. It can be very, very cheap. But in Port-au-Prince, where there are some, it's very diverse in Port-au-Prince. There are a lot of it's very diverse. You'll find some schools that are very expensive. And when I say expensive, that they can probably like I don't know, some it can be like you need probably $2,000 US dollars for the whole year, because they are very good school by international standards. They are very, but in the countryside, it's probably gonna be like $200 would be 200 US dollars. Sometimes some places $100 US would be enough to pay for the whole year. But they still struggle sometimes because a goat might sell for, I don't know, at my time, it would probably like 3,000 good would probably give like 20, 40, 50, like $20, 20 US dollars, something like that. Or 40. I don't have all the math, but in this range, yeah.
What can you tell me about the two things, the quality of medical care, as far, for example, in your small town away from Port-au-Prince, what you would do for either broken bones or pills and medication, being away from the central city.
Yes, that's a struggle. That's a real struggle. Oh, actually, that's a good point, because there is in the countryside what I mean, how people live in the countryside is very, someone would see, because if someone has a bone, I mean, someone fell and the bone is broken, and they don't have the means to bring that person to the hospital, they usually they call these people natural doctor. They didn't go to school. They know how to treat people with the leaves, with the plants. So they do some kind of composition. They are very well known, and they put a bandage on that bones, and surprisingly the person get better. But if the person is capable and there's possibility, there might be, they took the person to the closest city. They were going to find hospital. Actually, the closest hospital is an Episcopal hospital. It's called Saint Croix Holy Cross, Saint Croix Holy Cross Hospital, and it's a very well-known hospital in the area. But it's probably like 1 hour from my hometown. So yeah, so there's this kind of way where people develop their own way of surviving. That's, as we said, would be very different from American standards.
Yeah.
We're right at 1 o'clock. Does anyone have any burning question they want to ask Reverend G right now?
As I understand it, Reverend G, you will be coming back to do another presentation for us.
Yes, that's when Ellen and I met during this over the summer to talk about other format. We said I'm gonna do 2, so that would be my presentation about my upbringing. People would like, because it was, Tracy is here. Tracy and Debbie took me kayaking during the summer, and while we were on the road, they said, we would really like to know more about what was it like, what was it like growing up in Haiti. I said, sure, that's something I might offer as an adult forum. And when I met with Ellen, I said, oh, yeah, that's something we could do. So we said, the first part is gonna be about me and my family. And the second part is gonna be talking more in depth about culture, Christianity and voodoo, most of the stuff. It's gonna be more broad. It's not gonna be me. And it's the second alpha is not gonna be me. It's gonna be just Haiti, showing you. I just showed pictures from my own town, but I'm gonna show pictures from all over Haiti, the next one. But in January, I think we're gonna do that.
Your pictures were stupendous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Any last questions? Well, Reverend G, thank you so much. This was really informative, and I think you've answered a lot of questions people have always wondered about your background. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And also, I'll be always, yeah, thanks, Tracy and Debbie, who asked me I should talk more about myself, when we were kayaking. So I owe it to them, because they were the first one who told me I have to do that. So yeah, and I am also, whenever you see me, just stop me for questions. And I will be so happy to answer some questions.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, friends.
Have a great week.
Have a great Sunday. Have a good week. Thank you. Bye-bye.